Hi everyone, and welcome to Tanya and Tianna English. Today I have an ESL listening practice interview for you. So if you'd like to practice your listening skills and meet one of my very good friends, stick with me. Today I'm here with my good friend Ginny, who we have the opportunity to talk to a little bit about her and where she's lived in the United States and some of her artwork. So Ginny, tell us a little bit about where you've lived and how you ended up here in Arizona.
I was born in Minnesota, rural Minnesota, and I lived there for 20 years on a farm. I lived for 20 years in Montana, in Billings, Montana. That's where I started to learn to quilt. After I lived in Montana, then I moved to Arizona, and I continued my quilting business and quilting journey. Thank you.
Very good. So you can see behind us one of Ginny's original art piece that's in process, and you might get to see a couple more as we go along. But first, tell us where those two states you mentioned are, Montana and Minnesota, did you say?
Minnesota is in the Midwest, and so that's it borders Canada on the north, and it's very near the Great Lakes. And it's cold there. There's definitely 4 seasons, and it's hot, and there are mosquitoes in the summertime, and it's very cold. Maybe my relatives there are experiencing 20 degrees below zero. That would be Fahrenheit.
So, yep. Like way lower in Celsius.
In Celsius,
yes.
Very cold. And that was good. In Montana, I loved living in the West. We visited Glacier Park and Yellowstone Park. And Montana is, the weather is just as cold, but it has a different culture than Minnesota, more of a Western culture, many Western-themed things. It's in Billings that I had my children, but that's where I learned to quilt. There was a quilt shop that opened, and I started taking classes there when my kids were little. I would trade off babysit someone else's children so that I could go to a quilting class. I would take their children a different day. And that's where I started. I really believe in taking classes to further your education, to further what you want to do. And that was over 30 years ago that I started taking classes.
Wow. You mentioned Yellowstone Park and Glacier Park, which are 2 of our national parks.
National
right?
parks,
We have a whole national parks system here in the United States, and if you'd like to know more about that, we could maybe do a video where we had that as the topic. Let us know in the comments below if you'd like to know more about our national parks.
One of my friends introduced me to a book called The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron.
Which is I'll put a link to The Artist's Way down below. It's a great book for artists.
For creativity in general. And that spurred me on. One of the things that it says is that we are all artists. And I decided to start calling myself an artist instead of just a quilter. And that's where my path took off towards the art industry. After I decided I was an artist, I had to practice saying it. I am an artist. I'm an artist. And then it sunk in. Finally, it sunk in. And then I went towards the art. I took art classes. I took at a community college. I kept on reading books on creativity. I continued to call myself an artist. And pretty soon, I guess I was an artist.
Well, I agree with what Julia Cameron says in that book. We're all artists. I think it's a wonderful book. It could be something you would enjoy reading to learn more vocabulary that's different from the vocabulary you've learned from other books. So Julia Cameron was an influence for you. And then how did your work as a quilter, becoming an artist, change? What was the difference for you?
The difference for me was that I stopped following patterns. I'm not very good at following patterns in the first place, my friends will tell you. But I I've just felt confined by doing a pattern in a certain way. I want to start a project that I don't know what it's going to look like at the end. That's part of the creative juice for me. I have my own style. Other quilters, they want and need to see what it looks like to start out with before they can progress. But for me, half the fun is trying to figure out what it's going to turn out to be when it gets finished. And so I like to use lots of different colors. I like to use a lot of visual texture. And what I mean by that is fabrics or fabrics that have stripes or polka dots. They don't look like a solid color. They have some other interesting texture that you can see. And you probably can see behind me some of those visual texture.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And when you say texture, it reminds me that Ginny and I have known each other for a long time. Both of us were interested in quilting and fiber art, which is any type of art that uses fibers like fabric or paper or different
dolls,
all kinds of art that's outside of the box or outside of the realm of just painting and drawing. It uses those aspects as well. But you mentioned textures, which made me think of years ago, we were both involved in your gallery. Ginny had a gallery. Do you want to tell a little bit about that experience?
Oh, wow. Yeah, I had an art gallery with two partners for quite a while. It was a really big learning experience, a very big learning experience. Not very good financially, but I still learned a lot, and I don't regret it at all. But we had an art gallery that featured fiber, jewelry, and glass, like vintage glass, Murano glass, blown glass. Vintage jewelry is like jewelry that's older, from the 30s, 40s, 50s, 20s. It could even be from there. And then fiber. Tianna had things in there, and we had we represented a number of artists with fiber things, shawls, scarves, silk, all different kinds of fiber. But it reinforced that I was an artist, and it reinforced my voice as an artist, as a fiber artist. So it was a very valuable experience for me.
It was a very valuable experience for me as well. And I think it was kind of a cool thing because you were a business owner and an artist at the same time, and you know, figuring out how to make those two things go together can be a little bit challenging.
Yeah, I think for me, and in anything, it's balance. Like, I need to spend time here in my studio. I need to spend time looking at new things that inspire me. I need to spend time out of here too. So I keep it balanced. I can't be in here all the time, but I need to be in here to so I'm happy. My husband will say, I haven't heard the sewing machine working for a while. That's a cue that I should come in and play in my studio.
How often do you think you do spend time in your studio? Is it every day, or?
I'm in here every day. I might be just putting things away or slicking up, but generally I spend, 1 to 3 hours at least or more if I'm working on a project. And lately I have been working on a project. I'm trying to get ready for a benefit project that I'm working on.
So you said two things that I'd love for you to explain. So when you say slicking up is Ginny's own personal idiom. What do you mean by slicking up?
Slicking up to me is like putting piles of things away.
So like cleaning up.
Yeah, cleaning, not necessarily cleaning, but tidying up maybe.
Putting things away.
Putting things away is the thing, so that the place looks more organized and not as chaotic.
Yes, one way that we use the word slick is when we say something is slick, we mean that it's good. It looks good, it looks put together, it's a good thing. It's a positive thing. And then the second thing you said is that you were getting ready for a benefit. What do you mean by a benefit?
A benefit for me, what I'm doing is I want to help raise some money for foster children in our area, in this area. And I've looked around for a number of ways, and so I want to raise money for their cause. And I want to clean out some of the stuff from my studio. I got a lot of stuff here. And I'd like to get it to a new home, to new homes. Yes. So I have two purposes for this benefit. So the benefit will be that people can purchase a piece of artwork or a framed piece, and their purchase will go directly to the foster care program that I've selected to receive the funds. And so I'm really excited about it. I'm really excited to be able to help out the foster community.
So, and the foster community is like a charity organization. Foster children, when we say the word foster children, in this case what we mean are children who don't have a mom and dad in their life currently. They may have a mother and father, but they're currently living with people who are fostering them, taking care of them. This was one of our vocabulary words that we had on our Instagram. So if you're not following us on Instagram, we'll have the link to that below and you can check out some of the vocabulary words there. But so this particular organization is supporting foster families and foster children, people who are helping with children whose parents are either unable to take care of them right now for whatever reason, or maybe they aren't able to take care of them at all. So, so you're working on some projects for that. Can we take a look at some of those?
Sure.
Another one. This first one is a beautiful landscape. So I'm going to hold it back here while you tell us a little bit about it.
It's a framed landscape, and what I do is I lay down the sky. I loved the sky fabric, and then I cut out the mountains and I lay down everything else, and then the green things that you see in front are saguaro cactus.
So I'll put a little thing so you can see how that is spelled. It's a type of cactus that I'm pretty sure we only have here in Arizona.
Yep, only in Arizona. And this is often what we see when we hike. The other day when I hiked, this was very close to what I saw when we were hiking. So a lot of saguaro. The sky's always beautiful. The hills are kind of a rust color, which would be like a dark red or a kind of a dirty red color. So that's, and I put it in a frame and it can hang or sit. And that's one way that you can make landscapes all the time. They're always different. So
that's very cool. And then you have another piece here. Put this one down here. This one's a little smaller. Tell us about this one.
This is, since my sale is coming up the beginning of February, I decided to use some of the small frames that I had on hand and fill them. And so the flower is made of hearts.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
Yeah, the flower's made of hearts, different colored hearts, and I put them together, and then I design with the frame in mind first. I have the frames first, then I make what's going to go in it. It's really hard to make something and then to try to go and find a frame that will work with it. It's much easier to purchase the frame first and then make the artwork that will fit into it. That's the way I like to do it.
And so what Ginny said is she had frames on hand. That's another idiom. What that means is that's a frame you already had, a frame that you already own. This frame, I have it on hand. We use that phrase a lot in the kitchen, like I have flour on hand, or I have these ingredients on hand. I mean, I already have them in my kitchen or in my studio or in my house. And then the other thing she mentioned was that she made this because it was going to be in February. And the reason that is because in the United States, we have a holiday you may have heard of called Valentine's Day. And we use a lot of images with hearts and talking about people we love romantically or as friends or as family. So in February, people are looking for gifts for people that they want to let them know how much they care about them. So awesome, very good. So I am very grateful that we had this opportunity to spend just a few minutes here with one of my very good friends, Ginny. I have had other friends that have had interviews on our channel as well. If you're interested in them, I will link them up above. And we would like to give you the opportunity to practice your English. So think about yourself As a creative person, as an artist, maybe you haven't thought of yourself in this way before, but what are some of the ways that you are creative, or what are some of the ways that you would like to foster your creativity? You would like to begin to be creative? Let us know in the comments below. So I hope this video was helpful for you. If it was, give us a thumbs up. And don't forget to subscribe by pushing on the red button below. You can click on the little bell and you'll get notifications whenever we have an English class. We post new English lessons every Saturday. And if you know someone who is learning English, please share this video with them as well. And we're looking forward to seeing you in the next lesson. Bye.
Bye.